Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Live at 4. It's Friday.
Can you tell Michael Bruno is here?
Michael Bruno's here. Amanda Quintana, there they are. Michael and Jim. Amanda Quintana is in for Susan, who is kind of enjoying a long weekend. Good to see you.
Good for her. Thank you. Yeah,
Michael Bruno's going to be here.
I like it.
Lola's around.
Yeah.
Good Friday.
It's going to be a good day.
All right. First, here's what's making news today. The water may be receding, but the mental toll those floods inflicted will remain. Rose Schmidt has more on that.
And the president continues his quest to find out who authored a critical op-ed piece in the New York Times. A former president has his own thoughts on who is in the White House.
And a pilot who should be given the Person of the Year award by hungry passengers stuck at a small airport. This is a great story.
Yeah,
Wait till
I
you hear
like
that.
that
Let's take a look outside. Boy, what a difference a day makes.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Beautiful day today. This is a blue heron. That's what we're told. A blue heron somewhere around town. We have perfect football weather. Dave Caulfield is in the backyard. He's ready to spike it.
Yes, exactly. Hopefully I don't spike the forecast too hard because we want to keep it around. I think we will keep it around for the next week to week and a half. Not too much sun today, not too much blue sky, but still conditions have been pretty nice outside. These are higher level clouds, so they do let a little bit of sunshine in. Here's a live look in Platteville showing those mostly cloudy skies on our Queen Bee radio sky cam, and we're still watching that rain to the south of us and now moving closer to central Illinois. That's where that cold front is. It's moving very, very slowly, and that's why folks to the south of us could be looking at flooding like we were over the past couple of weeks. Hopefully not, though. Doppler track for us, though, is going to be quiet over the next week or so. Temperatures right now in the mid to upper 60s. Some lucky folks are in the 70s, or unlucky if you're a fan of the cooler weather. Dew points are still in the mid 50s, so very comfortable outside. Wind speeds are keeping us dry, or the wind speeds aren't keeping us dry, but the wind direction, that northeasterly component, is definitely helping us feel dry at the surface at about 10 to 15 miles per hour. Another breezy day out there. Live look in Madison, the WISC-TV Skycam showing those overcast skies. I do think we'll see mostly cloudy skies this evening, but as we head into the overnight hours, maybe some of those clouds coming to an end, and we'll see partly sunny skies tomorrow. Temperatures will fall into the 50s by later tonight. Here's a look at your first alert traffic update. The Beltline and Rimrock Road, slow eastbound, as you might expect a Friday on the Beltline. Still have some of those closures due to flooding downtown, so that's something to keep in mind. But no major accidents showing up across Dane County at this time. Look at the Beltline from west to east, a lot of red showing up, so definitely give yourself a few extra minutes. Those delays not extending yet to Stoughton Road, but starting to see a few brake lights. Verona Road to John Nolan, eastbound, that's 17 minutes, average speed of around 15 miles per hour. And some other routes in and around Madison, the Beltline to Janesville, not looking too bad right now. 28 minutes with an average speed of around 65 miles per hour. And that is your first alert traffic update. We'll talk about how long this dry weather will continue to last in your first alert forecast in just a few minutes.
Hopefully a long time.
Yes.
All right, Dave, thank you.
First at 4, the water from the Baraboo River is receding in Laval, but the work there has only just begun.
A few dozen volunteers spread across Sauk County today and started to clean up the damage from the floodwaters. Rose Schmidt was there and tells us about the emotional trauma the flooding can take on people.
Quite a situation there. The members of the American Red Cross tell me this particular flooding is so widespread and affects so many people that it's definitely one of the more stressful situations. They encourage people to tackle small tasks instead of trying to clean up their entire house all at once, for example. The latest Sky 3 video shows the Baraboo River receding in Laval. The Department of Natural Resources set up a command post there today, and about 30 volunteers came to Laval to help people clean up their homes and businesses. One of the groups on the ground today, Samaritan's Purse, based in Baraboo. They were near South and East Streets in Laval. That's one of the hardest hit areas there.
So they're cleaning out the basement of the home behind us. It's an elderly lady, and she had several feet of water in her basement. Everything's floated around, and they're removing all those contents as well as doing the same thing at other houses on the block.
On News 3 at 5, we will introduce you to the elderly woman who lives in the house those volunteers are cleaning. Water filled her backyard and home, destroying everything in her basement. And as the water continues to recede in Sauk County, the DNR will be looking for volunteers in other communities downstream from Laval, including Reedsburg, Rock Springs, North Freedom, and Baraboo. And emergency management will send out information about how to get involved. for those people who'd like to volunteer.
Yeah, it's a mess, but the good news is dry weather in the forecast. So
dry weather, and these people are really coming together. It's really incredible to see.
yeah, it can. All right, thank you, Rose.
Gross. The Baraboo River crested in Baraboo at noon today. This was the scene earlier this morning with rushing water flowing through the city. If you're traveling this weekend, expect problems on the interstate. Department of Transportation officials say lane closures are expected over the weekend on Interstate 3990, 9094, and 39 in Dane and Columbia counties as water levels gradually rise in the area. After allegations of shooting young children with needles attached to Nerf darts, a Portage area stepfather is facing tentative abuse charges.
Our Madeline O'Neill is back from Columbia County, where she's been following this story. She's in the news center. Maddie?
Mark and Amanda, 33-year-old Brian Alexander is waiting in jail tonight for his initial court appearance. The Columbia County Sheriff's Department says its investigations show Anderson shot the Nerf darts with sharp needles at children ages 6 to 9. Officials tell us they believe it happened multiple times at a home in the town of Lewiston outside Portage, and they're looking into claims that Anderson did the same thing at another location. We spoke with a woman who says she's the mother of the children involved. She says she knew nothing about the alleged abuse. Sheriff's Department officials say the mother has been cooperative and there's no evidence at this time to suggest she committed a crime, but it is an ongoing investigation. Alexander had a scheduled court appearance today, but that has been postponed until Monday.
All right, thank you so much, Maddie.
President Donald Trump is calling on the DOJ to find the author of an anonymous New York Times opinion piece. And former President Barack Obama sounds off on the matter. Mola Lenghi has more from the White House.
President Donald Trump told reporters on Air Force One tracking down the writer of an anonymous New York Times opinion piece could be a matter of national security. The president continues to publicly fume over the op-ed in which a senior administration official claims to be part of a quiet resistance in Mr. Trump's administration. Some Republicans on Capitol Hill defended the president against the article. House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy wrote a letter to the Times saying the author should be exposed and fired. Senator Lindsey Graham linked the op-ed to special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation into Russian collusion.
If you can't get him on colluding with the Russians, the new line of attack is going to be he's just not fit for office. If you don't believe me, believe Anonymous.
Former President Barack Obama also weighed in during a speech that was highly critical of the president and the current Republican Party.
The claim that everything will turn out okay because there are people inside the White House who secretly aren't following the president's orders. That's not how our democracy is supposed to work.
President Trump hit back.
Isn't this much more exciting than listening to President Obama say?
President Trump says Attorney General Jeff Sessions should join the hunt for the anonymous author. The Department of Justice is not confirming or denying that it has launched an investigation into the matter. Mola Lenghi, WISC News 3.
President Trump also claims he fell asleep while watching former President Barack Obama's speech at a Get Out the Vote rally in Illinois. Obama is heading out on the campaign trail to fire up the Democrats' base, and especially younger ones, ahead of the midterm elections. He said President Trump's policies were not conservative, but radical and dangerous. He also accused Trump of sowing discourse and causing racial and ethnic tension across the country.
The Trump campaign advisor who triggered the Russia investigation received a minor sentence today. George Papadopoulos was charged with one count of making false statements to the FBI during the Russia investigation. Special counsel Robert Mueller's team pushed for a prison sentence of up to 6 months, while defense attorneys wanted probation. Papadopoulos apologized for his actions, telling a judge that he made a dreadful mistake and was eager for redemption. The judge sentenced Papadopoulos to 14 days in prison for lying to the FBI.
So your flight has been diverted to a small airport and then canceled due to severe thunderstorms, and everyone on the plane is hungry with no place to go. The pilot of the American Airlines flight comes to the rescue. While the passengers stood on the tarmac at the Wichita Falls Regional Airport, he took it upon himself to order 40 pizzas to be delivered to the airport. The plane had taken off from Los Angeles and was heading to Dallas. The pilot then hand-delivered the pizzas to all of the passengers. No word on where everyone spent the night.
Yes, he does get the award for customer service.
I'd be so happy.
Good for him. Well, there's more to come at 4. Do you take a lunch break at work?
If not, you're not alone, and some experts say it's actually a good thing. Food for Thought when Live at 4 continues. A new study finds 1 in 2 American workers does not take a lunch break at work.
And experts say it's not necessarily a bad thing. That study finds 50% of U.S. workers don't take a full lunch break. A majority of people surveyed say leaving work behind to eat is unrealistic because of intense workloads and pressure to perform.
We wear our busyness as a badge of honor. We kind of also like to be seen as the person who's working right by their computer.
Experts say not stopping to eat is actually good for some people, driving energy into their work and helping them stay focused. But for others, it could lead to burnout. And Professor Gradisha says if a 30-minute lunch break isn't an option, try to take several smaller breaks during the day to clear your mind and stay energized.
Trade fears and interest rate hikes worry investors on Wall Street. The Dow Industrials fell 79 points, ending the week at 25,916. The NASDAQ Composite Index dropped 20, and the S&P 500 fell 6. When you think of plastic surgery, you're probably more likely to think of women than men. So you might be surprised to learn that men have hopped on board the vanity train.
It could be aging executives trying to fend off younger rivals or men just wanting to improve their looks. And we found out men in Madison are no exception to this national trend.
I think both men and women now are more accepting and open about having cosmetic procedures. They're not so secretive about it anymore.
Dr. Ahmed Afifi of UW's Transformations has performed plastic or cosmetic surgeries for decades. Over time, he's seen the type of procedures performed and the type of clients having them done, well, transformed.
And many men, the first time they see me, They're very concerned and they're thinking, should I as a man be having a cosmetic procedure or an injection? But the vast majority of them, once they have a procedure or an injection done, they would think, wow, that actually wasn't such a major thing, and they become regulars in our clinics.
10 years ago, men made up 5% of Dr. Afifi's patients. Now, it's around 20%. The number of male patients is growing at 3 times the rate of women, and that is a nationwide trend. According to the American Society of Plastic Surgeons, the number of plastic surgery procedures performed on men rose 29% between 2000 and 2017. Some 1.3 million cosmetic procedures were performed on men last year alone. The number one procedure, liposuction.
So younger men are mostly getting Botox and fillers, while older men are looking for more surgical procedures.
For 66-year-old Randy Voss, surgery was a matter of life and death. After struggling with weight all his life, 28 years ago, after hitting 345 pounds, he decided he needed to do something about it. Through extensive counseling, dieting, and eventually bariatric surgery, his weight was where he wanted it to be. But all that excessive skin needed to come off, and that meant abdominal surgery and 3 facelifts.
Can we see the picture you brought?
Sure. Yeah, this is somewhat shocking.
Well, you can see why people can't believe it's
Yeah,
you.
yeah, it's true.
Would you recognize you?
No, no, I wouldn't. No, I really wouldn't. I see pictures and I can't. I would not. To be truthful, part of it was vanity, probably, because you want to look your best. Frankly, if you do look your best, you have the incentive to maintain your best.
And maintain it he has, with some consequences.
People that knew me for 20 years heavy, I can be in a crowd and they cannot accept that it's me. I look absolutely completely different. I almost bear no resemblance.
And he'd do it all over again in a heartbeat.
So the goal of any cosmetic procedure is that the patient would not look like they've had any cosmetic procedure. If a patient looks like he had a surgery, then that's a failure. Patients are supposed to look relaxed, rejuvenated, refreshed, without looking artificial or unnatural in any way.
And by those standards, Randy Voss is a success story. As far as health insurance coverage, plastic surgery, covering plastic surgery, it depends. Procedures like Botox and fillers for cosmetic purposes generally are not. Full surgical procedures often are. Make sure you check with your insurer beforehand. Interesting trend, though.
Yeah.
The stigma's gone away.
Yeah, we were just saying, people talk about it now
Yeah,
openly.
and I think the procedures are so much better. You don't look like you've had plastic surgery.
You don't look that different. It's natural. Well, it's been a tradition for the past 18 years. A family takes a horse-drawn buggy from Toma to Lambeau Field for the Packers home opener.
But this year there is something different. A family keeps the tradition alive without Buggy Bob. That story's coming up after Dave's weekend First Alert forecast. Well, take a look at this. Diners at a California restaurant were minding their own business when this happened. Police say a woman who had asked to use the bathroom was gone for a while. They believe she used an attic door to access a crawl space. The eatery's owner then noticed some ceiling tiles buckling, and that's when a patron, as if sensing an impending viral moment, started recording video. Moments later, the woman came crashing down. The homeless woman was not seriously hurt. Police say she was under the influence of drugs. And when they asked her why she went to the ceiling, she reportedly said someone told her the bus stop was up and to the right.
That's a lot to take in that story.
The bus stop.
The bus stop was
I'm
up.
trying not to laugh,
Up
but
into the right. She's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully she's getting
the
some
bus
help.
stop was up there.
Sure.
All right. Well, it is Friday, September 7th. According to Google, it is Google Commemoration Day. The giant search engine first went online on this date in 1996.
It's
what
hard to
would we
believe.
do? What would we do
20-something
without it?
years.
I know. I can't imagine.
I wouldn't know the answer to any question.
It's also National Lazy Moms Day. Moms everywhere should take an effort to relax and feel good about it.
Yeah.
My mom, the farthest from a lazy mom. She's very hardworking. She's a teacher, and I love her.
but she
Just
needs-
in case she
Shout
watches
out to
us.
Dave's mom.
She needs to relax.
Just relax, Mom.
One day.
Come on, relax.
All right, and this could help. Grab a cold one after work. It's not only Friday, it is National Beer Lovers Day. Researchers say beer brewing might even predate our own history, dating back 6,000 years. George Washington had a recipe for beer in his paperwork. So there you go.
That'll help a mom relax.
Yeah. Maybe some spotted cow. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know?
There you go.
Stay local with it.
All right, weekend is here.
Yeah, I'm staying local with this weather forecast. That's kind of my job. But locally, we'll be dealing with dry weather into much of next week. I'll let you know when rain chances start to creep back in once again in your first alert forecast in just a few minutes. Good afternoon. I hope everyone is having a great Friday, a dry Friday. Even with the clouds around, we still do have that cold front close enough where these high-level cirrus clouds have really been around for much of the day. But some peaks of sunshine, not too much though. I think I saw a couple closer to early this afternoon. But the rain is at least staying away, and that's the good news, the most important news of all. Right along that cold front, so we still do have that rain just south and west of Chicago into portions of central Illinois, but not for south or southwestern Wisconsin. South by Southwest, we're not seeing that rain right now. And as far as September precipitation, we could definitely use a break from that rain. That is the understatement of the century. Already almost up to 3 inches of rain in every single day except for this one. We've had at least a trace of rain. Believe it or not, yesterday, even though we had dry weather, very early in the morning at the airport, we did have a trace. So the dry stretch starts right now. And of course, we know this, folks. Intuitively, every storm runs out of rain, to quote the great Gary Allen there. Now, dry weather is expected from today until the 16th of December. So our longest dry stretches of 2018, that should say, if I can get my years right, July 5th to the 11th, that's a week, and then a little bit longer, April 19th to the 26th, the longest dry stretch of the year, happened overall in a very dry month of March, the 14th to the 25th. So that's 12 days. We could actually get into that territory, but after everything is said and done. Downtown Madison and the Edgewater Skycam looking at those overcast skies, but no rain falling out of those overcast skies. 67 degrees right now. East-northeast wind at 12 miles per hour. So it has been a breezy day overall. Normal for this time of year is actually 75, so about 10 degrees below average for this time of year. Temperatures are in the mid-60s in the Dells and in Watertown. We are at 70 at the airport in Janesville, and Black River Falls actually at 71. Dew Point's still comfortable, so if we are heading out this evening and tonight, it's still going to feel pretty nice outside, pretty brisk at times, especially with temperatures in the 60s. And the wind speeds are also helping it feel a little bit more brisk outside out of the north and east at about 10 to 20 miles per hour. So tonight for Friday night football, kickoff temperatures of about 64 degrees, mostly cloudy, but still on the comfortable side. We'll reach lows in the 50s, but by the time we get to the fourth quarter, I still think we'll be around 60 degrees. So the clouds hanging around for much of tonight, but the rain is hanging to the south and southeast of us. So we don't need to worry about that. Any remnants from Gordon will head to the east and northeast. So out of our area, and that high pressure keeping us dry over the next couple of days and into much of next week, in fact. Tonight, cloudy in the evening, then partly cloudy overnight, so we lose some of those clouds as we head into tomorrow morning. For tomorrow, variably cloudy, breezy. I do think we'll see a little bit more sunshine, but temperatures stay in the low 70s. So a little bit closer to home, we see those clouds taking a little bit of a vacation, but some sticking around by the time we get to tomorrow. Then for tomorrow, partly sunny, a pretty nice day overall, no rain to worry about, and temperatures actually dipping into the 40s Saturday night. That would be the first time Madison dipped into the 40s in more than 3 months. It was actually in early June the last time that happened. So Camp Randall Stadium, another big game between the Lobos of New Mexico and, of course, your Wisconsin Badgers. For the kickoff, remember it's at 11 a.m., so in the upper 60s, and I think highs will be in the low 70s, so we should start to hit the 70s by the afternoon. A little bit breezy and variably cloudy. And of course, the forecast, another win for the Badgers. Your 7-day forecast showing those temperatures gradually increasing through the 70s, but lots of sunshine on the way for next week. We'll get into the 80s by Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Then next weekend, a few more clouds. That humidity starts to return. And next Monday is our next chance of showers and thunderstorms. So a welcome vacation from the rain chances for southern Wisconsin.
And don't despair, summer's returning.
Oh yeah, we're going to feel like the low 90s and mid 90s by the time we get to next weekend.
And these clouds are from Jordan, or Gordon, what's his name, Gordy.
Some could be from Gordon, but it's mainly that cold front. Gordon's still a little bit farther south.
Okay, well, that rain stayed south.
Yes.
Thank goodness.
Absolutely.
All right, Dave, thank you. Well, as fans from around the country prepare to make the trip to Green Bay for Sunday's season opener, one family will be traveling by horse and buggy.
18 years ago, Bob Retzlaff rode his Packer buggy from Toma to Lambeau Field. Sadly, this year his family is continuing that tradition without him. Jordan Lamers reports from New London.
Nobody's told me I was crazy. Everybody thinks it's a pretty good idea, and they wish they would have thought of it themselves.
That man is known as Packer Bob, famous for his 180-mile journey every year from Toma to Lambeau Field in his Packer buggy.
Started on horseback, he did it, and then he bought a small 2-seater buggy and then later a 4-seater buggy.
3 weeks after his trip to Lambeau Field last year, Bob unfortunately lost his battle with cancer.
Talked to Bob midsummer last year and said, Bob, you got the buggy ready for your trip to Lambeau this year, because he's always gone to the first home game. And he said, well, you know, with my health, I'm not sure I'm going to make it this year. And I said, Bob, get the buggy fixed up one way or the other. That buggy's going to Lambeau.
And that's what his family decided to do, carry on this crazy Packers tradition.
It's just something totally different. Nobody else does it.
One stop this week was in New London, where Bob grew up.
I actually got to see it on there before he passed.
Almost a year ago today, Bob was here to find his name listed on the city's Veterans Memorial.
You know, you'd always hear stories as a kid. He'd tell you about when he was in Germany for years, what time he'd have to wake up to watch the games, and then his whole day was wrecked because the Packers lost because it was the 80s.
This year's goal, to make it to Lambeau Field for Bob. 8 days at a 5-mile-per-hour pace. Jeremy says Packer Bob's words still echo through the back roads of Wisconsin.
Slow down, enjoy life, don't worry about it. Even once we'd get the horse going a little too fast, he'd slow down, we're in no hurry.
Words of wisdom that will roll with his family for many years to come.
This is something that I'm pretty sure we'll do for a while because we really do enjoy it.
Jeremy says the family's goal is to get Bob into the Packers Hall of Fame. The buggy will arrive at Lambeau Field tomorrow afternoon.
It's great they're keeping that tradition
doing
alive.
it, yeah.
I think Bob would be happy.
Oh, definitely.
Well, you've probably heard about it or seen a new ad for sportswear company Nike.
It features Colin Kaepernick, and for some, it's very polarizing. But is the ad good for business? We'll talk with the local ad exec about the spot and the fallout when Live at 4 continues. You're taking a live look at downtown Platteville. Good that we have a couple of dry days ahead.
Looks like a good week or so.
Yeah. The controversial Nike ad featuring Colin Kaepernick aired during last night's NFL season opener.
Kaepernick was the first NFL player to stage protests of racial injustice during the playing of the national anthem. The 90-second ad showed a variety of athletes, including the Lakers' LeBron James and tennis star Serena Williams. And it ended with the slogan, "It's only crazy until you do it. Just do it." Kaepernick's voice narrated the commercial, and he appeared toward the end of it. Early this morning, President Trump delivered what appeared to be a 4-word review of the commercial on Twitter. Quote, "What was Nike thinking?" We asked local ad agency executive Andy Wallman the same question.
I think Nike knew what they were getting into when they chose to go this way. I think they knew they were going to get a lot of people upset because of this issue that's out there, and I think they thought a lot of people were going to get on their side. If you look at Nike's last couple of years, their sales have not been great in the United States, and they've been particularly losing young people, which is very, very important to the athletic shoe and apparel industry. You start losing young people to Adidas and Under Armour and Puma, you're in trouble. So I think they knew, we're going to rock the boat, but we have to get young people back and we have to get sales back.
So it's not going to hurt their brand?
I really don't think so at all. It's an international brand. They have 43 offices around the world, retail stores around the world. And if you look at the ad, they were cognizant of that. They talked about refugees. They showed a Muslim athlete. They said, we're an international brand, and we don't care if some of America, some of the United States, isn't going to be on board with this. I think they thought America, negative reaction this much, the rest of the world, they'll get them.
Everybody wins here?
Kind of. I think those who were predisposed to not liking the issue are going to feel like they didn't win. But I think that Nike, first and foremost, they didn't choose this tactic of aligning with a social issue to align with a social issue. They chose this tactic to sell stuff. It's a business, a big business, a very competitive business. So I think they're going to win. Importantly, I think they're going to win that young person market that had been fading for them. That's so important, and that's almost doubly important now. You look at millennials' buying habits. 60% of them want to align with brands and wear the logos and have that badge value of brands that align with their values. They're very socially minded and socially oriented, and they'll spend their money that way. And lastly, who's going to win, I think, are the A-plus professional athletes. It's a dogfight at the top to get Serena Williams and LeBron and Aaron Rodgers, to get these people signed to contracts. Now they're saying, hey, A-plus superstar athletes, we believe in you. We believe in your dreams. So I think they're going to get more A-plus athletes in the future because of this. That's good business.
What does it do for Colin Kaepernick?
Interesting question. I think it's been really kind of wild how he's laid low so much. He's probably got the best resources money can buy. He is a cheesehead, so maybe he's just got, good instincts to begin with. He's from Milwaukee. But I bet you he's got some pretty good representation telling him to lay low. It's funny, Nike's paying a guy who's not an athlete right now, maybe 7 figures, to do this endorsement stuff. I don't know if Colin will ever get signed again, but I think he does have a future. I think a lot of people are still going to be on his side.
And it certainly got the conversation going.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
People are talking about it.
2 weeks ago, who was talking about Nike?
Yeah.
Now everybody is.
Whether you're burning the shoes or buying them,
right.
people are talking about it. All right, when we come back, it's time to go backstage with our Michael Bruno.
He checks out Encore Theater's production of Found Money, the musical. That's when Live at 4 continues.
Good afternoon. Here is your first alert traffic update, taking a live look at Rimrock Road and the Beltline. So we do have some slow go in both directions, as you might expect Friday night on the Beltline. Remember, we still do have some flooding closures downtown and really across southern Wisconsin overall. So that's something to keep in mind. Average speeds right now on the Beltline close to about 15 to 25 miles per hour in that midsection there. Verona Road to John Nolan, 15 minutes, so running pretty slow. Eastbound, average speed of around 20 miles per hour. In the other direction, still a little bit slow in that same stretch with an average speed of around 25 miles per hour. And that is your first alert traffic update.
All right, Dave, thank you. In our continuing effort to keep you up to date on the latest trends, we present Bubble Waffle Ice Cream. Bubble waffles have been a popular street food in Hong Kong for decades now. A chef in Texas says it looks like a regular waffle cone, but it has bubbles outside of it. The texture is a little different, too, because it's crunchy on the outside and really soft inside.
Whatever's trending is really what you could take a picture of and put on Instagram.
As long as you put it on social media,
yeah.
It's trending. Well, we've highlighted Encore Studio in the past. It's the only professional theater company for people with disabilities in Wisconsin.
Found Money, the musical with 3 exclamation points, is its latest production. It opens tonight, but we get a sneak peek as we go backstage with Michael Bruno.
We hear you have a lot of money.
Lori is a person with a disability.
Give us the money, or we'll report you. What?
This wasn't supposed to happen.
You only get so much from Social Security, SSI.
You give us the money, and we don't call Social Security. Wayne!
I'm sorry, I was excited. I wanted to share the news.
She gets a check that's a little bit over the amount what she usually gets.
We don't have much money now. It's you who has the money now. And we heard from our friend that you might have an excess.
I didn't say that.
First of all, her telling her friends, and her friends taking full advantage of all of the cash, the ready cash that they now have.
Tell your folks that it's jerks we're wooing. Should not have told you. Why did I trust you? I blame you for the trouble brewing.
We're the PWD Mafia.
People with disabilities.
We don't do it just for fun.
The PWD Mafia gets light of it. And when that happens, we have some trouble.
Today we need some money, and it's you who has the money. All you need is 30K to make us go away.
PWD Mafia, their tagline, perhaps my favorite tagline that they have is, people with disabilities can be criminals too.
We're the PWD Mafia, and as it happens, we even have a gun.
Run, Wayne! Take the money. You're not my friend. Our friendship's at the end. I never want to see you or this money ever again.
I'm sorry, I was excited. Ooh.
And Michael Bruno is here now. It's all original work.
All original music and original plot. Kelsey writes these unbelievably wonderful pieces for this company, and this is their job. They go in every day and they rehearse these plays, and they put the play. Sometimes they have repeat performances. This is the 3rd time they've done this production, and it started out years ago. They were at the Bartell Theater. And they only had like maybe 8 people that were in the original company. Now she's up to 18 characters in the play. So it's kind of like it's gotten to be a big production number. So she's written more music and more numbers for everybody to participate in the show.
Wow, and this is very unique to have a
It's
place
incredibly
like this.
unique, and it's so encouraging because they're all different disabilities that are in this. Some have different forms of their abilities to be able to do this. Some are in wheelchairs. Some have very extreme disabilities, and some have very mild disabilities. And there are also people that are working with them who are very able-bodied, that help them with the show, that help them rehearse. They're on in the shows with them.
So alongside of them.
Alongside of them to help them with, to help them come on and off and change the scenery. And it's just so encouraging, wonderful to watch them performing these shows.
Very uplifting.
Yes, it really is, and really funny too. I mean, some of the show and some of the things they do are really
The premise is great.
Yeah, it's a very funny.
So Social Security
Yes.
overpaid a little bit.
There's just a little bit more money in that check.
Found Money, the musical, 3 exclamation points. It's at the Mary DuPont Wallers Theater. That's at 1480 Martin Street in Madison, now through September 22nd. Call 608-255-0331 for ticket information. And next week?
Next week, it's Sweeney Todd at Middleton Players.
Looking forward to that. Good to have you back. You're gone for a couple weeks.
It's like fall now.
It is fall.
Got your fall colors.
I'll tell you, it's cold. He's wearing socks with the sandals.
I know.
That's how cold it is. We'll see you next week.
Thank
We'll
you.
be right back with the final check of that forecast. Dry, dry, dry.
Yes, but a little bit cloudy tonight. And
That's
a little
okay.
bit on the cool side. Yeah, we could definitely take that, but just keep that in mind if you're heading to Friday night football festivities. A live look in Madison at those overcast skies on the WISC-TV Skycam. Temperatures right now generally in the mid to upper 60s. Will fall through the 60s this evening and into later portions of tonight. So we'll be cloudy for the evening, then partly cloudy overnight, with temperatures eventually falling into the low 50s by morning. But I do think a little bit more sunshine comes our way tomorrow. Highs will be in the lower 70s. Another pleasant, dry day on the way.
Perfect weather for the Badger game.
Oh, absolutely.
And anything else you got planned?
You got it.
All right, I will. Thank you. Coming up Monday here on Live Before, Dr. Zorba Pastor joins us. He'll be taking your medical questions live.
And film critic Will Loper will also be here. He'll tell us what he thinks of the new horror movie, The Nun.
Be right back with Lola's Lowdown.
Well, it has been a shortened holiday work week, but that did not slow down Lola and intern Louie.
Our canine correspondents have the best animal stories of the week in this edition of Lola's Lowdown.
This week on the Lowdown, bless you.
One high-flying pup.
And no lion, a trip to remember.
But first, the first sun bear cub ever to be born in the UK took a stroll out of her den with her mom for the first time this week. The little female cub, who has not yet been named, was born 12 weeks ago to mother Millie and dad Tony, both rescued from poachers in Cambodia when they were also cubs. Native to Southeast Asia, sun bears are the world's smallest bears and are listed as vulnerable to extinction in the wild. Sun bears get their name because they love to sunbathe while hanging out in trees.
Tourists at a safari park in Crimea had quite an experience. They were taking a tour when a lion, known as Phyla, decides to climb on board. The female lion eventually climbs over tourists, cuddling and licking them. The safari park is famous for offering its visitors more proximity to its lions. No kidding.
Behold, a Guinness World Record. This is Feather, a rescue dog, setting a world record for jumping over the high hurdles. Her owner, Samantha Val from Maryland, trained Feather over and over again